US Congressman Krishnamoorthi has written a letter to Secretary of State Blinken and asked him to engage with Bangladesh government to end outbreaks of violence, including the targeting of Hindus. Well, a big breaking coming on the attacks that has been allegedly been made on the Hindus after the uprising in the Bangladesh has created unrest in the entire nation after the Bangladesh parliament was dissolved, after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has tendered her resignation. Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Renik to share more details. Renik, now we can understand that the US Congressman Krishnamoorthi has in fact also urged by writing a letter to US State Secretary Antony Blinken and asked him to engage with the Bangladeshi government, who has just the day before sworn in by the head of the interim government, Muhammad Yunus, as well. And now the matter which is being in contention is the attack that has been made against the Hindus in Bangladesh. Of course, this is one of the issues that has been in the causes of worry ever after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina had tendered her resignation. Renik, what are the more latest details that we're tracking at this moment?
देखिए, शेख हसीना की तरफ से सोमवार को जब रिजिग्नेशन दिया गया उसके बाद ही बांग्लादेश में हर एक जगह से जो कंप्लेन आ रहा है, जिसमें बोला जा रहा है कि हिंदू परिवार के ऊपर आक्रमण हो रहा है, हिंदू के ऊपर हमला हो रहा है, हिंदू मंदिर को तोड़ा जा रहा है, आग लगाया जा रहा है। और इस बात को लेकर एक तरफ प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी की तरफ से भी जब इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म हुआ उसी टाइम में कांग्रेचुलेट करते हुए ये हिंदू का मुद्दा उठाया गया। दूसरी तरफ अगर देखा जाए तो यूएस कांग्रेसमैन कृष्णमूर्ति की तरफ से भी, राजा कृष्णमूर्ति उनके तरफ से भी जो एंटनी ब्लिंकन है उनको चिट्ठी भेजा गया है, जिसमें मेंशन किया गया है कि जो इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट है उनके साथ कांटेक्ट किया जाए। कांटेक्ट करते हुए जो हिंदू परिवार है या तो माइनॉरिटी परिवार है बांग्लादेश में जिनके ऊपर इस तरीके से हमला हो रहा है, जिसका तस्वीर बार बार से सामने आ रहा है, उसको लेकर कोई स्टेप लिया जाए, उसको लेकर चिंता जताया जाए, उसको लेकर बातचीत किया जाए कि बांग्लादेश का जो परिस्थिति है, परिस्थिति शांत होना पूरा वर्ल्ड के लिए या तो यूनाइटेड नेशन के लिए जरूरी है। क्योंकि बांग्लादेश के जैसे एक देश में शेख हसीना जब रेजिग्नेशन दिया उसके बाद से लगातार 3 दिन जिस तरीके से हिंदू परिवार के ऊपर, हिंदू मंदिर के ऊपर हमला हो रहा था, उसको लेकर अभी यूएस की तरफ से भी कंसर्न किया जा रहा है। कांग्रेस ऑफ द यूनियन स्टेट इनका लेटर हेड में ये राजा कृष्णमूर्ति की तरफ से ये चिट्ठी भेजा गया है, जो कि भेजा गया है सेक्रेटरी ऑफ यूनाइटेड स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्टेट ऑनरेबल एंटनी ब्लिंकन को ये चिट्ठी भेजा गया है। यानी अब देख ही सकते हैं कि बांग्लादेश का जो हिंदू परिवार के ऊपर जो हमला का घटना जो इम्पैक्ट आ रहा है वो सिर्फ भारत का कंसर्न नहीं है, ये दूसरा देशों का कंसर्न भी है। क्योंकि बांग्लादेश का परिस्थिति शांत हो इस बारे में सबको नजर है। एक तरफ जब बांग्लादेश में इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म हो चुका है और उसी बीच में इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट का पहला काम होना चाहिए कि बांग्लादेश का जो परिस्थिति है ये परिस्थिति को शांत किया जाए। जो माइनॉरिटीज है यानी हिंदू है, क्रिश्चियन है, बौद्धिस्ट है, जो भी है, इनका जो सुरक्षा को सुनिश्चित करना इंडियन गवर्नमेंट का काम है और इसी वजह से ये चिट्ठी भेजा गया है।
All right, Renik. Of course, now the worry and the tension for the condition of the attack on Hindus continues to mount as far as the state of affairs in Bangladesh is concerned, especially after the new interim government has been sworn in by the head of the interim government, Muhammad Yunus. Now, we'll also go back to some pictures that we have right now about the Hindus. We have where they are giving the postcards here and saying that Hindus also have a right to live. And this is, in fact, viewers, is the protest that's going on in retaliation to the attacks that have made in Bangladesh against the Hindus, you know, after the coup has happened in Bangladesh. And this is what the people, and especially the Hindus in Bangladesh, have left feeling. There are other pictures that we're tracking at this moment. These are the images on your screen where the protests have gained momentum, where the attack on minorities in Bangladesh has created quite a row. All right. Joining me on the broadcast is international affairs expert Dr. Manan Dwivedi. We appreciate you joining on the broadcast, sir. What has been, in your opinion, and as a sense of the matter of facts, the condition right now after the coup in Bangladesh, the minority state, and of course the condition of Hindus there? We have seen multiple reports, and of course the videos have come from various parts of the country where there have been extremist actions against also the Hindus, especially in Bangladesh, causing worry for the condition and also the security of a group of people after attacks have intensified. What is the sense that one can gather from such state of affairs? Is there a resolution? There has been uprising, of course, and there have been worries in regards with what would be the further course of action as far as maintaining the security and law and order of the state is concerned. Mr. Dwivedi.
Definitely, first of all, I extend my thankfulness to you for having me here. I personally feel that when we talk about India-Bangladesh relations, however far we might go from our 1971 Mukti Vahini and the liberation movement led by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Sam Manekshaw, we cannot forget that India and Bangladesh have womb-like linkages. They have historical, traditional and cultural linkages, and in any way countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Maldives, Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh, they have been part of the larger track of the Indian hegemony, which is not hegemony, but which is a benign hegemony. So I personally feel that the government needs to take a lot of steps, and modes of communication, they need to be established between New Delhi and Dhaka. The interim government, Mohammad Yunus, who's leading it, should be told about it, and they should be told that India will not be accepting any kind of a mass exodus from Bangladesh, and the security, stability and solidity of the Hindu masses, the Hindu people should be assured there. But I would like to end here on this particular note. I would just like to contend over here that when we talk about India-Bangladesh relations and the current carnage which is going on against Hindus in Bangladesh, then my mind harks me back to the 1971 war image. That picture of General Aurora talking to General Niazi and making him surrender the 90,000 odd Pakistani troops with their belts off. Because when you take the belts off of a soldier, that is considered to be the worst ignominy and the worst humiliation that can ever occur to an army man. So, apart from that, we have got several treaties which have been signed between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Sheikh Hasina. So I think along with the Tista and the 24 Pargana controversy, or the difference in opinion between New Delhi and Dhaka, we should also submit a protest, and more than a protest, with Mohammad Yunus, that the condition of Hindus should be immediately improved. Otherwise, we can also take recourse to some sort of a coercive diplomacy, wherein India can really tell them in a hard manner that Hindus, they are part of the majority in India, and we are a country which are populated by Hindus, and they should be protected.
Also, Mr. Dwivedi, what I would just like to request you to hold on for a second while we take a moment to understand the immediate attention on the contents of letter that have been written by Krishnamoorthi to also Secretary Blinken, saying, after the Mohammad Yunus has been sworn in as the chief advisor of the interim government, what has been of utmost urgency that the United States engage with his government for the purposes of both bringing the violence to an end and the perpetrators of justice. Now, of course, quoting the reports of the anti-Hindu attacks in the New York Times, Times of India and many other media publications, he has also said that in Dhaka as well as most large cities and numerous districts, In the violence of following Sheikh Hasina's resignation, the Bangladesh Hindu, Buddhist, Christian Unity Council informed the reports that out of 45 out of 64 districts in the country had seen the targeting of mostly Hindu homes, businesses or temples this week itself. So, of course, this is very alarming where, there have been the citations of quoting the data where, reported Hindus and homes of Hindus have been targeted, and there have been attempts which have been made by Hindus to flee Bangladesh into India as a result of religious violence. This, of course, raises utmost concern over, integrating the safety of the minorities in any nation.
Definitively, I would contend here that India and Bangladesh, I would recourse to my earlier statement. I take recourse to my earlier statement that both the countries share a shared history and a kind of a conjointness and a collectivity both culturally and religion-wise. Because if you look into the political shenanigans of the British in 1905 and the other divide and rule policies which were adhered to by the British, India was divided, but generally the general Bongo Bandhu culture was similar, where the Bengalis, whether it be a Hindu or a Muslim, they were considered part and parcel of the same terrain or the same group or the community. Now, I personally feel that America has slightly played a dubious role here. When I talk about Antony Blinken, the Americans were also somehow part and parcel of the ministrations which were going on, diplomatic ministrations, wherein they also wanted a kind of a regime change. They wanted a regime change of Sheikh Hasina, and for that, it has been contended by certain sources that America was also indulging in some kind of a skullduggery, in some kind of a diplomatic skullduggery, where they wanted that Bangladesh should be immobilized. But if you talk about Bangladesh, the Clifton-like culture has already permeated the Bangladeshi bigger cities, the cosmos centers of Bangladesh, wherein the American cards, the American symbols of pelf and prosperity, American consumerism, and the capitalist idiom, they seem to be latched onto by the Bangladeshi youth in a very pertinent manner and in a deeply ingrained manner. So I personally feel that we don't need to take recourse to the Americans. This correspondence might not be very important, but we can directly talk to Muhammad Yunus. And Muhammad Yunus has had a good history of relationship with Indian academia and the Indian journal community along with the Indian government. So I think he can be asked to look into this alarming situation and this catastrophic situation where Hindus' safety and solidity and the security can be looked into with an effective prism, with an effective policy. But what has to be realized practically is that the Bangladeshi police forces, they ran away when the youth protested against them. So, we actually do not know sitting here in India and in New Delhi that what is the actuality and what is the ground reality as far as the Pakistani rule of law, as far as, the Bangladeshi rule of law situation is concerned, whether the interim government has a writ in parts of Bangladesh or not, that needs to be considered first, I think.
Yes. All right, Mr. Dwivedi, thank you with all these inputs and detailed perspective as far as the anti-Hindu riots, of course, and attacks are concerned.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.